So our reader question this week is from a user on Instagram, Brian7TO. He asks, do you see Rolex prices going back to retail on the secondhand market? What do you think, Hamza?
Short answer, no. Slightly longer answer, very, very, very unlikely. Slightly longer answer, I don't see a world in which Rolex can continue making the quality of the product that it makes in the quantities that it does with the hype around them, which shows no sign whatsoever of letting up for the foreseeable future, that result in pre-owned market prices across the board returning to retail or sub-retail levels. There may be instances where a specific model, for whatever reason, does experience something like that. But my guess is, just based on everything that we can see about the way that the market has evolved over the last few years and what Rolex's strategy seems to be, it's very unlikely that on the secondhand market you will ever see prices going back down below retail. You can always say, if people stop caring about mechanical watches, then yes, demand would go down. And if demand went down, prices would go down. We've seen that happen, in fact, in just the last quarter. But what we've seen as a result of that is that there has been a dip, but not for a single model has the price dipped below retail. They're still all trading for above retail, but instead of, let's say, 50% over retail, they've gone down to 30% over retail. And those deltas and that premium over retail varies depending on which specific reference or model family you're talking about. So something like that seems possible coming down to retail. That seems plausible. But the old world where you would be able to buy a watch, wear it for a little while, sell it, and maybe lose a little bit of money on that sale, and then buy the next watch, and then just kind of go through that, which is my understanding of what the enthusiast experience or the collecting experience used to be like before it went online and went crazy over, let's say, the last 5 or 7 years. It doesn't sound likely that Rolex itself is ever going to go back to that. But I know you have probably something to say in response to just this particular observation.
It's like, people forget history, the market situation right now is pretty recent. Even when you were talking, you said 5 to 7 years ago, this was not the case. And now it is the case. I mean, even literally less than 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, this was not the case for quite a few Rolexes.
So pre-pandemic.
Yeah, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, right? That's when I bought my Yachtmaster. And when I bought that watch, I willingly paid the retail price of $11,300, something like that, plus tax, so almost $12,000, when the market price for that at that time was around $9,000 for that watch. Right now, the market price for the Yachtmaster is $17,000, something like that. Right? I think people are so engrossed in the current situation that they sometimes miss the big picture. It wasn't that long ago that only a few select, most desirable Rolex models traded over retail. Maybe a few GMT Masters and the Daytona. The Daytona has been the Rolex that's traded over retail forever. But it wasn't that long ago where subs did not trade over retail, where people didn't even want the Hulk, right? Where the Hulk was a $6,000-$7,000 watch. People didn't even want it. People thought the green was ugly, right? It wasn't that long ago. And so to say, okay, this last 2 years changes everything for the foreseeable future of the brand. I don't know. Obviously, I'm a victim of this too. I would tend to agree that, yeah, it's unlikely that it would go back down below retail. But at the same time, no one thought that we would be where we are. No one could have predicted we would be where we are today in terms of how crazy the market's gotten 2 years ago.